Hey folks, this is Anthony with livingtheend.com. How are you doing today? So I've got a little for this video. What I wanted to kind of go over with you is one of the things that made Neville Goddard so magical, I think, is it is a little thing that he did. And he explained it in one of his lectures on a very common story that he told often, and it's how he got out of the military. And this is probably the most powerful thing you could do, because one of the things that, excuse me, there, I'm hitting puberty again. One of the things that we think one of the things that we actually need to do when we are doing SATs is we need to do SATs or imagination or our feeling, or when we're doing affirmations, we need to do those in such a way as to experience who we would be, and that's where that's something that a lot of people miss. They're doing SATs to try and get something. They're doing affirmations to try and get something. That's not what you're doing those for. You're doing those to simply experience what it would be like if you were that person. All right? And this is where so many people get this so confused. You know, I'm going to manifest this person, so therefore I'm going to do all these techniques so I can manifest this person and get this person. Well, there's a problem with that, because you're doing that to try and get something. You're doing that in the 3D to try and get something, okay? You need to experience this in the 4D. That's where it's at, okay? And Neville Goddard, he would always tell the story of him doing SATs. You know, he would lay down in his bed, you know, and when he would, in his cot, actually, he was in a cot. He wasn't even in a bed. He would lay down in his cot in the barracks, and when he would close his eyes, he would imagine he was laying in his bed in his apartment in New York. That's some 2,000, 3,000 miles away, however far it was from where he was at. Okay, and so that's one of the things that he would do. Okay, but it was only in one lecture, I believe, and it was in his voice, where he said movement is the key. All right? And I was like, what's he mean by movement? Why is movement the key? And then he explained about it on why movement was the key. And it opened up a whole new realm for me when it came to manifesting. All right? And this is what he did. See, he used to tell the story where, you know, I'm laying in my bed, you know, and I can feel my bed, you know, and I can imagine being in the bed, you know, and I'm thinking about where the barracks is in location to where my apartment is, you know, and if I'm laying in my apartment and I look back to where the barracks would be, you know, I'm looking in this direction because I'm north of where my apartment in New York is north of where my barracks is. Okay, so he would think that kind of stuff, right? But see, the key here is what he did on this one time when I heard him. Now, it could have been a couple of different times he had said this, but I heard it in one specific lecture. Okay, he says movement is the key, and this is what he did. He laid there in his cot, closed his eyes, and then imagine he was laying in his bed in New York City. Okay. Then from there, what he did was he said he got up out of bed and he started walking around. He walked towards the window, moved the curtains to look out the window. Okay, so he was doing movement. He was experiencing what it was to be in that whole situation. Okay? Then from there he moved over to the living room, and as he's walking past chairs in the living room, he's putting his hand on the backs of the chairs and feeling the backs of these chairs as he's walking by. Okay? Then as he's going to the kitchen, he's going from the living room now to the kitchen, he's touching the countertops. He's experiencing being there for real. The brain at this point doesn't know that it's not real, because he's experiencing it. All right? When this happened, when he talked about this, and I started applying it to just regular imaginations, or I started applying it to doing sats and stuff, it just opened up a whole new world for me. And that's one of the things that is so powerful about this, is it's not, I wish he would have, and he does talk about it a little bit, about experiencing it, but I wish he would have done so even more, because that's the key. When you're in your imagination to experience what it would be like to be that person. You're not in your imagination to get something. That's the wrong premise. If you're there in your imagination to try and get, okay, I'm going to go lay down, I'm going to do my sats so I can get something, so I can get my SP, so I can get this job, no, that's not it. You're going there simply to enjoy the experience. And let me tell you, if you do that, if you sit there with the whole intention to just enjoy the experience, man, is your life going to change for you like you could not imagine. But if you're going there just to try and get something, you might get it, but you have not been that person. And so you're not going to be able to hold on to it. And this is what happens to so many people. They go out and somebody, here's the next best technique that's out there right now that everybody's going cuckoo over. I remember when it was the whispering in the phone type of thing, or whispering to a picture or something like this. This whispering to a picture thing was a phenomenon for about a day and a half, and everybody was talking about it. And then all of a sudden it disappeared, because what happened is people, I got a text message, or this happened and stuff like that, but it didn't last, because what they were doing with that is they were getting the SP, but they hadn't changed. And so what would happen is the SP would come back, and then the SP's coming back to the same old person that they had dumped 6 months later, or 6 months before that, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, how come I'm not getting any more text messages? How come I'm not getting, they're gone dark again. They've ghosted me and stuff. Well, yeah, because you haven't changed. All you did was manipulate the 4D by doing these robotic affirmations, or by doing these whisper techniques, or looking in the mirror and talking to the mirror and stuff, it's not that you went in with the wrong premise. That's not what you're doing. You're doing that. You're going there to experience what it would be to be that person that was in that relationship, that had that job, that was driving that car. That's what it's about. It's not about trying to get something. I can't say that hard enough for people to understand. It's you have to become that person. That's what it means to move from one state to the next state, or go from one parallel universe to another parallel universe, or to go from one film strip to the next film strip. You're not the same person. Die to the old man, which is the old state, okay, and take on the clothes of the new person and wear those clothes. Be that person. That's the key. That's the key. That's what's going to get you what you desire, because you will become that person. And then here's the funny thing that happens a lot of times. Happened to me. You may decide that SP or in an SP, by the way, can be more than just a love interest. Okay? It can be much more than just a love interest. But you may get to the point to where, as you've grown with your self-concept, that you realize, you know what? I don't really want this person. That's not the person I want. Or I don't want this thing. That's not the thing that I want. You can get to that spot and realize that that's not what you want, because you've grown past that now. And that's a good thing. Okay? So put that in there, and always go in with the idea that you're going to simply experience it. That's it. That's the only reason you're going there, is to simply experience it. You're not going there so that you're going to get something. All right? That's not the premise that you need to come from. You need to come from the premise of, I'm going to just experience what it's going to be like to go out to dinner with my SP. Okay? And make that as real as you can in your imagination. And then watch what happens. Folks, thanks for watching, and remember, you've got this.